Good morning, folks. Unfortunately, there won't be any tap tap this time. I've been watching the Lotus Eaters sitting out here, and I've kind of smoked myself out. Also finished my coffee, but I will give you a little bit of a look at the flute I've been working on for my buddy Cass. So this is what I've got so far. It's still a little fat on one end, so I'm going to probably take off the rest of that sapwood. As you can see, that's the light ring just on the outside here. Also, I have a bit of a surprise announcement. I've been invited onto the Discordant Dragons podcast tonight. So that'll be with Yiz the Eunuch over on Entropy and YouTube. If I recall correctly, that's 7:30 tonight, Newfoundland time. So please come by and watch us pretend to interact with mythical creatures and discuss some of the issues of the day. Let's see, what else have we got going on? I will be doing a live stream at some point in the next day or so when I have this pretty much finished shaped. It's pretty close now, but I do want this end a little thinner. So what I'm doing is really just scraping off a little bit of the wood to get that tubular shape the way I want it. And I don't know if this is going to be a particularly good flute, because again, this is only my second attempt at making one. Clean that off, and make sure your tools are closed when you're done with them. Let's see. During the podcast of the Lotus Eaters this morning, there was quite the animated discussion about pit bulls, and I just wanted to point out that over the years I've had lots and lots of interactions with dogs. I love dogs very much, and absolutely understand why our ancestors ended up partnering with them, whether the wolf domesticated itself or we domesticated it, or there was kind of a back and forth there, which is probably the more likely explanation. But one thing that my father taught me when I was growing up, and I grew up with hunting dogs, is that no matter what, every dog has a wolf inside it. And it doesn't matter what breed you're dealing with. If you are not in control of that dog is a danger, or a potential danger at the very least. In the case of, say, a Yorkshire Terrier, a lot of people will dismiss it as incapable of doing a lot of damage. Now, this is true if you're talking about an adult. However, if you're talking about a baby, a newborn, toddler, up to even a young child, if that young child is, or rather, if that dog is incorrectly socialized, or the owner is weak, etc., if that dog decides it's the alpha, it's going to try to discipline your child, any child, as if that child were a dog. And this can lead to children being frightened of dogs. This can lead to children being abused by dogs, which I've seen with my own eyes. One of my friends had a Jack Russell Terrier and a 6-year-old girl. The Jack Russell, the moment I first walked into the house, snarled and attempted to bite at me, at which point it caught a click on the nose. Just a little 2-finger, real quick, like that, across its nose. Not physically harmful, but enough to point out to the dog that I was not to be fucked with. The dog was fine. About an hour and a half or so later, I'm sitting on the couch, the little girl is sitting beside me, and the Jack Russell is between us. The Jack Russell at this point had become friendly to me, because that's what happens when you teach a dog to submit to you. So I'm petting the dog, no problem. The little girl goes to get up, the dog turns and snaps at her. My immediate reaction was to bat that little fucker across the room and yell no at it. Was that cruel? No, not at all. That was corrective action. That was explaining to the dog that you do not bite a child, you do not bite a human at all, and showing the little girl, by example, that she has every right to defend herself. Now, the mother of that little girl, who was the girlfriend of my friend, she got very upset at me, and I pointed out to her that that dog had threatened her child, and her response was, "Oh, how much harm can he do? He's only a little dog." Yeah, no, Jack Russells are bred for killing. They're bred for ratting. Okay, that's a very, very tough dog. That's meant to go down a hole that it doesn't belong in and kill something that lives in that hole. Yeah, no, you need to take every dog seriously. Doesn't matter if it's a pit bull or a poodle. By the way, poodles bite more children than pit bulls. Yeah, look at your statistics. Um, and poodles tend to be some of the most aggressive dogs, believe it or not. Uh, but having grown up with hunting dogs, Labradors, Newfoundlands, well, not Newfoundlands, you don't use Newfoundlands to hunt. By God, that would be amazing, though. But Labradors, Beagles, really the breed we have here in Newfoundland that we call Beagles are actually Harriers. They stand kind of in between Beagles and the Foxhound. They're much bulkier, generally, than the average Harrier breed because they're rabbit dogs, or technically Arctic hare. Again, another animal that Newfoundlanders mislabel, or at least had a different label for than is perfectly accurate. But Beagles tend to be some of the hardiest dogs, but they can be vicious to each other. And you don't step between, and this is again my father's wisdom and wisdom that I've seen in action growing up. You don't get between two dogs that are fighting, because dogs fight with their eyes closed, and the only thing they smell is the other dog. You can't get in between them and be safe. You kick the dogs until they separate, or if you're the alpha, you use your voice to settle one of them down. The problem with that is you're going to have to kick the other dog to stop it attacking yours. Sorry, life is brutal. Red in tooth and claw, as I said in the chat, in the live cast, the Lotus Eaters live stream. One of these days I'll get these terms right, I swear. In any case, folks, I don't want to rant too much about dogs. One thing I will say is that the idea that no dog is dangerous is bullshit. The idea that there are bad breeds can hold true, but generally what you're dealing with there is a dog that's been bred badly over generations. And you have to realize dog generations are far shorter than human lifespans. In the course of a human lifespan, you can create a new breed of dogs. For example, as I mentioned to my friend the Carnal Conservative, I would dearly love to take a Newfoundland dog and a pit bull and crossbreed them. I think you'd end up with a very interesting combination of traits. Now, again, as he pointed out, there is a possibility of getting the pit bull aggression and losing both the non-man biting trait of the pit bull and potentially losing the protective instinct of the Newfoundland. I think you would be hard-pressed to breed out that protective instinct from a Newfoundland, though. I think more likely what you would end up with would be a very friendly, very cuddly Firmism that, should someone threaten your family, they would discover in short order that that was a very bad choice. Other than that, I don't have a lot going on now. As I say, I will do a live stream at some point today working on the flute. And I will be on the Discordant Dragons podcast tonight, which I'm very much looking forward to. Other than that, I don't believe I have a lot of news to share. Though I will say that I am still looking for a new merch provider, someone who can do better printing than the last group I used. And I will be I think that's it, actually, for that. Anyway, as I get closer to Discord and Dragons, I will be sharing out the link, so I would deeply appreciate any support you folks want to throw my way. That includes, if you feel up to it, like, share, subscribe, comment, and there is a donation link. Also, on my Getter currently, I have the candle holder that I built last week for sale. If you don't use Getter, I understand, and you can find in the description below and there is a bit of channel news as well, but there is a link to my off-the-wall woodcraft email address if you're interested in purchasing that candle holder. Also, and this is the bit of channel news I mentioned, I will no longer be using the telephone number that I've been using since I started doing my streaming. It's getting no engagement at all, other than the odd unknown caller, and I see no purpose in, therefore, keeping the phone number. In any case, folks, I hope you're having a good day. I hope you continue to have good days, and rise again until lambs become lions. Bye-bye.